And now we're making it into the main card. First fight on the main card, we got Daniel Zellhuber and Michael Johnson. And man, this is a card for the OGs, with the main event being Dustin Poirier and Max Holloway. And one thing that's pretty cool is, and shocking to me, is this is the first time Michael Johnson has ever been on the main card of a UFC pay-per-view. Took him 30 fights to get to that position. So shout out to Michael Johnson for hanging around. And he's been in the UFC since 2011. He's had some amazing wins. And it seemed like he partied a lot, and he had some regrets about how he handled himself during his prime. And he's turned his life around. He's fully dedicated himself to the sport, and it's extended his career. And he still has hopes getting big money fights, maybe even back in the rankings, the title contention. So in order to get there, he has to get past this young buck in Zellhuber. But he's won 3 of his last 4 fights and been looking pretty good. He's coming off a highlight reel knockout. Zellhuber making his comeback fight, fighting for the first time since his Fight of the Year battle with Esteban Ribovics. And he hasn't been in the UFC for that long, but he's made a name for himself amongst hardcore fans as a blood and guts Mexican warrior. He's won Performance of the Night in all 3 of his fights in the UFC, and this is his first fight of 2025. He kind of needs a win, though, because he obviously still is valued by the company because he's fighting a UFC legend on a pay-per-view main card, but he doesn't want to be 3-3 in his first 6 UFC fights, getting a 39-year-old up-and-down guy. So Zellhuber should try to impress and put MJ away here. And you look at Daniel Zellhuber, he's a pressure fighter, super long limbs. He wants to walk fighters down, stand right in front of them, force them to close the void, and then use his knees, use his kicks. When you close the gap, he likes to counter with crosses, check hooks. His last fight, he landed a sick elbow in round 3 that dropped Ribovics. And when he can go forward and get on the inside and start letting his combinations go, he'll rip the body. He isn't super fast, but he has good extension on his punches. He'll throw long combinations, really nasty body head. And, yeah, man, great conditioning. He's someone that, as fights go on, he becomes more dangerous because fighters get less explosive closing the distance, and he can start to walk them down, take more risks, land more as they're trying to close the gap and just be more effective with the style. But his style is also dangerous because he's right there to be hit. He's been dropped and rocked in multiple fights early, and if you can close the gap quick and land hard on Zellhuber, you can hurt him. And he has an iron chin. I mean, he has been rocked in all of his fights, but he comes back. He doesn't get knocked out. And he's not going to look to wrestle here, and I don't think he's going to really face much of a wrestling threat. But, yeah, man, it's going to be a stand-up fight. It's probably going to be a battle of attrition. And you look at Michael Johnson, he fights pretty similarly in every fight. He likes to sit in the southpaw stance, uses hand speed, pull fighters into that power left hand, pull them into the right hook. He's willing to sit in the pocket and brawl it out. And, you know, I expect him to try to get the job done early. He has to have seen Zellhuber as a slow starter and can be cracked in the beginning of fights. MJ needs to be sharp, ready to close that gap and throw heat. And if he can land flush, he could sleep Zellhuber. For Zellhuber, it's just about trying to catch MJ, closing that void, making him make a mistake. And Johnson's been put to sleep before multiple times now. So he's still pretty durable, but Zellhuber has to have the durability advantage. And Michael Johnson has a shot here because he's not facing a wrestler. He's facing someone that's hittable. But I think if he wants the best chance to win, it needs to be early. He's going to probably land, and he could hurt Zellhuber. But Zellhuber has never been knocked out. And until it happens, I'm not going to predict someone like Michael Johnson cracks his chin. I know MJ has knocked out some of the best. I mean, shit, he knocked out Dustin Poirier. But I just feel like, you know, where these guys are at in their careers, it's hard to pick Michael Johnson here. It is a dog or pass from a money line perspective, in my opinion, because I think if it goes to decision, it's going to be very competitive. And I think that Johnson has a good chance to get an early knockout as well. But MJ is just a habitual ball dropper, 15-15 in his 5 UFC fight, or in his 30 UFC fights. And it's just hard to trust him to survive 15 minutes against a durable Terminator, young guy that's going to be walking him down. You just think at some point he's going to start to get overwhelmed and Zellhuber could get him out of there. So I'm leaning towards the youth of Zellhuber, and that's what I'm going to go with.